And we begin tonight with that history just moments ago, the start of humanity's return to the moon. You just saw it. We just felt it. The launch of Artemis II. There it is, the most powerful rocket to ever lift off with humans aboard. 4 of them now on a mission to ensure NASA's new Orion space capsule can sustain human life. It's an impressive picture before traveling around the moon for the first time since the Apollo era and paving the way to once again land there on future missions. Most of us were not even alive the last time this happened, which is why today's launch has generated so much excitement here on the Space Coast. Families gathering to watch history unfold before their eyes. The first lunar mission to include a woman on board, the first to include a person of color. But even in this new era, there was some familiar NASA pomp and circumstance, the crew suiting up in the very same room as the Apollo and shuttle crews before them, walking through the very same doors, saying goodbye to their families before leaving Earth. Watching it all with us here, senior national correspondent Mark Strassmann and senior space consultant Bill Harwood, plus Rob Marciano with a huge crowd and a view from Space Park in Titusville. But I want to go to Mark first on the roof. Mark, there was an overwhelming experience watching that shuttle just moments ago blast off. It's an emotional experience. And yet, just before, there was this no-go moment. It seemed like it wasn't going to happen. What happened? How'd they fix it?
Well, you're absolutely right, Tony. I mean, for a man-made thrill, a rocket launch, especially an SLS rocket launch, is very hard to beat. But you're right. 2 hours before launch, roughly, we were in a no-go posture, not a scrub posture, but a no-go posture. It was the first of 2 separate issues involving safety systems on the rocket, and one actually on the capsule with the launch abort system. But those issues were fairly quickly resolved, and I was told that, in fact, it never really came close to a scrub. They couldn't fly unless they resolved them, but they resolved them, and then they were apparently fairly confident that they would. Now begins the nitty-gritty of the business of getting both into orbit, now that they're in, and then out of orbit and on their way to the moon. The solar arrays have just deployed and latched. That will give the capsule solar power. Without that power, you're not going to the moon. So that is the next milestone. It has now been complete, and now the crew is going to spend the first day in space, going through all the systems of the capsule, especially the life support system. Remember, this is a test flight. A crew has never flown in this capsule in space before, and they've got to get it all checked out on this remarkable moment and a very significant test flight for NASA if they hope to land on the moon with Artemis IV, which is now scheduled for sometime early in 2028. Tony?
Yeah, they were waiting. Now they're working. That's right, Mark. I want to go to Bill now. Bill, it was emotional watching that thing lift off. How big of a moment is this for NASA? What did they just achieve?
I think it's a huge moment for NASA, a very dramatic first step in a revitalized moon program that the agency hopes will lead to regularly scheduled moon landings and eventually the establishment of a moon base near the lunar South Pole. Obviously, there's a race going on with China right now who plan to put their own people on the moon by 2030. That's a race NASA wants to win. But it's really going to come down to congressional and White House support over multiple administrations. And, of course, Elon Musk's SpaceX and Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin have got to perfect the landers that will carry the astronauts to the surface. And that's an open question right now as to how soon those will be ready to fly.
That is an open question. NASA has done its part. Artemis II is in launch right now, and yet the lander that would bring them to the moon has not been tested, does not exist. SpaceX hasn't produced it, Blue Origin hasn't produced it, so that's the next stage of this to root for. But it is a major milestone.
No question about it. No question about it. Watching that rocket take off, an emotional moment, I think, for everybody at the Space Center. Huge achievement.
And it shook the whole building we're in right now. Bill, thank you very much. Mark, thank you very much. Now let's head over to Space View Park, just up the coast from here in Titusville, where a giant crowd had gathered to watch the launch. Sounds like they're still celebrating there. Rob Marciano, what was it like?
It was a roller coaster, Tony. I mean, probably over 200,000 people lined this side of the lagoon and looked across the way 4 or 5 or 6 miles to watch this thing go up. And it was a long afternoon of waiting and watching and hearing the delays and thinking about the weather and seeing the showers come through. And then it happened. And for a lot of people that travel across the country, it was well worth it. And we have this family that came in from Colorado Springs. We met them at 7 o'clock in the morning. You got here at 1 o'clock last night. Has it been worth it, Mom?
Oh, totally. Just historical moment, and seeing it with the kids and seeing it through their eyes is just priceless.
But we were all very nervous that it wouldn't happen because they're flying back tomorrow, regardless, to get these kids back to school. Adelaide, earlier you said this is the coolest thing you've ever seen. You think you'd want to be up on that rocket right now?
Maybe not on it, but like I want to be a part of mission control someday, and that really made me want to even more.
I could totally see you in mission control. How about you, Carlia? Would you like to be an astronaut?
Maybe.
I don't know if I could do it. It looks they're pretty brave up there, and I'm so excited that you guys are here. We're able to experience it, and they're one of thousands, tens of thousands of Americans that came to celebrate this communal experience of awe and right now joy. Tony?
It's a beautiful thing, Rob. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. It was a really significant moment here.